Hi, I'm Mike Hudson, Director of the Museum of the American Printing House for the Blind. Now, our Monday mystery object this week, well, sometimes the mystery is what is that thing, right? But sometimes the mystery is in the story behind the thing. That's this week. So our mystery object is pretty obviously an ink pen, right? So let me describe it a little bit. It's about a 3-inch diameter glass base, fairly heavy. And there's a black plastic piece on top with a silver plate that's engraved. And then fitted inside of a hole in the middle of this base is a lucite and black plastic ink pen with a steel nib on the front, right? And just to let you know, there's a little reservoir down in this base of this pen that would have held the writing ink, right? And then engraved on the side of the pen, it says, "The President, the White House." That starts to tell us a little bit of something, right? So when famous, important pieces of legislation are signed, even today, quite often the governor of your state or the president of the United States will gather together a lot of the supporters of the legislation, both in Congress and then public officials and supporters who lobbied in support of the legislation. And quite often people who are benefited by the legislation will gather together, in this case, in the Oval Office for a bill signing. And so maybe there's a clue to be had in the engraving that's on the base. And this is what it reads. On September 22nd, 1961, President John F. Kennedy used this pen to sign Public Law 87-294, an amendment to the Act to Promote the Education of the Blind. So this is indeed a ceremonial pen that President Kennedy used in 1961 to sign an amendment to the Act. The Act, for those of you who don't know, the Act to Promote the Education of the Blind was originally passed in 1879, and it's the law that provides federal money so that kids who are blind or low vision, who are located anywhere in the United States, anywhere the United States flag flies, to get their books, their educational products, all kinds of things made at the American Printing House here in Louisville. And this law was actually very significant. When the law was originally passed in 1879, there was a fixed amount. Originally, it was $10,000 for all of the kids who were scattered around the United States. And what would happen is that every now and then, Congress would amend the law to increase that amount. And finally, that just got too unwieldy. And this amendment in 1961 basically gave Congress annual authority to decide what the annual budget of the American Printing House would be as far as the Act was concerned, our responsibilities to kids all over the country. It also allowed the Printing House to use some portion of that, the funding under the Act, for training teachers, for educating people who are going to be using the products and how to use them. So it was a very significant bill. It really kind of was the last peg in creating the system we use today, where we go to Congress through the Department of Education and tell them what are the needs of the kids around the United States, and then they decide our annual budget.